What a tremendously impressive opening ceremony that was. The Eye of the Tiger plays them down to the opening faceoff. And Krutov dumps it in behind the Philadelphia Flyers net. This is the final game of 6 between the Soviets and the National Hockey League, and Bobby Clarke makes the pass from center ice for Mark Howe. Clarke just named team captain before the game in the starting lineup for the Philadelphia Flyers. Krutov was checked by Mark Howe. Round the boards it comes for Lindsey Carson. Left back there for Cochran. Now Howe again. Larionov at center ice for the Soviet Union. Soviets hit hard on the blue line. Timonov set flying by Cochran. Flyers changing. Brian Propp comes on and takes the puck. He dumps it down to the Soviet corner. Shepelev, rink wide, left side. Shot in by Fetisov, the Soviet team captain, and their outstanding defense player. Now this is Propp. Flyers being stymied at center ice by the Soviets. Soviets coming back in with Larionov's wide-angle shot blocked by Lindbergh, who holds on for a face-off. 1 minute and 20 seconds into period one of the Soviets and the Philadelphia Flyers.
Well, we look at one of the keys of this Philadelphia team. Sittler coming over from Toronto, also supplying a great deal of leadership to this hockey club. Bobby Clarke, of course, the acknowledged leader, one of the greatest in any sport. And Bobby Clarke, by the way, having his finest season as he's had in 4 or 5, a definite Hall of Famer. And here's another candidate right there in a Sittler.
He's having a fine season, too. He scored 23 goals, 19 assists for these Philadelphia Flyers, who lead their division. The Islanders are third. As we said at the outset, it couldn't have come at a better time for the Flyers. They're a hot hockey team. Semenov played it inside the Philadelphia line. Now some heavy bumping from the Flyers in the corner. Sittler throwing the check there. Pervukin skated off by Paul Holmgren. Anatoly Semenov with it now. A check of Svetlov at the Philadelphia Flyers blue line. They'll jam it for a face-off over on the far board. And the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. The Soviet bench, I think, a little overwhelmed by the impressiveness, as we all were, of the opening ceremonies here, and thousands of people waving American flags. And if the Flyers score, they'll be waving them all the harder. Right now, Miroslav Dvorak behind the goal, brings it across his own blue line. Zubkov taking over for the Soviet Union. And Vladimir Zubkov lobs it down inside the Philadelphia zone, left in there. Here's Tretiak closing in, hit the side of the net. Soviets have not had a real good scoring chance yet. Almost one for the Flyers there, but a good check by Zubkov. Knocked the Flyer winger off balance, and back come the Soviets. Rykov brings it in, feeds the pass across. Starakov shot, blocked, rebound. Down goes Lindbergh to hang on for the save.
A couple of good opportunities here for the Soviets. The first shot blocked by Dvorak. Dvorak, by the way, has more experience than anybody else in the Flyers against the Soviets, playing over 200 games with the Czech national team, now coming to play this year in Philadelphia and doing very well. Kelly Lindbergh, also from Sweden. Sinisalo from Finland, a great deal of international experience on this Flyer hockey club. And the first shot there, blocked by Dvorak, and a follow-up shot saved by Lindbergh, and he freezes it.
Glenn Cochran for the Flyers, stationed behind his own goal, starts to play off the right side now. Long lead pass for Bill Barber. His first game since December the 4th. They'll use him sparingly, but Barber's back in good shape. Tom Gorance with the puck as it is carried into the Soviets offside. The referee, by the way, is Bruce Hood. Linesman Ron Finn and Leon Stickle. And the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Face-off, the Soviets promptly iced the puck, so the face-off will come to the left of Tretiak.
In the opening, we were showing a check on Van Emp on Harmeloff, and after we'd like to tell you a little story about Harmeloff that the fellas paid tribute to after the Canada Cup.
All right, here's Barber feeding Howe. The quick shot is blocked by Tretiak. Soviets clearing it out to center ice. Mark Howe, a tower of strength in recent weeks for Philadelphia. Back there on defense along with number 29, Cochran. Cochran slaps it up the boards past Barber, goes the length of the ice. Being chased down there by the Soviets, Kazatanov. Alexei Kazatanov trying to send Krutov away on the right side. That is intercepted. Flyers with it now in the center ice area. Long shot drifts wide. Here's the rebound, slapped wide by Lindsey Carson. Bobby Clarke couldn't contain it, gets it back to Carson. Carson back around the boards, rolls all the way out to the point. Nobody there, and Krutov clears the Soviets right on Lindbergh. Carson swings away in his own zone for Bobby Clarke. Clarke right side pass. Coming back for Carson. Whistle down on the offside. The game, 4 minutes and 15 seconds old.
Well, temper's flaring just a little because of the check after the whistle as we see Krutov, the leader on that Soviet defense, just going off. Last year after the Canada Cup Series was over and the Soviets won, they went back to the hotel room, and Phil Scheuer, part of the NHL, was with them. He was the fellow traveling with the delegation, and he said Vasilyev got the whole team in a room and they paid a tribute to Harmeloff. First, a good husband, a good sportsman, a good father, and a good hockey player. He said it was just like an emotional feeling for all those players missing him. He got killed, as you know, just previous to the last Canada Cup.
One of the most exciting hockey players any of us ever saw, Valery Harlamov, killed in an auto accident. Part of the big story here 7 years ago. Hard to believe it was that far back when the Flyers, with their goons, went after the Soviets who left the ice. And a much different story here as Shepelev has it inside his own blue line. Rolled in by Sittler, promptly back out to the center ice area for the Philadelphia Flyers. Carson left wing, shot goes by. Sittler brings it out for the Soviets, can't connect with Semenov. Pervukin now lobbing it down the board. Stopped by the goaltender, Lindbergh. Wilson's pass to the right side. The long shot by Allison going way off the mark. A little over 5 minutes gone. No score. The Flyers and the Soviets in the wrap-up game of this exciting series. Inside the blue line, Darryl Sittler shot blocked. A second chance he almost got. Now Bruce Hood will call an interference penalty, likely against the Soviet Union. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
You're looking at Vasily Pervukin, who just got called for interference after Darryl Sittler taking that first shot. See Pervukin in front of the net, taking the Flyer down. So the Philadelphia Flyers on the power play with this man Pervukin sitting out an interference penalty in front of the net as Sittler was getting an attempt to score a goal. Flyers on the first power play of the evening.
Bobby Clarke on the face-off for Philadelphia. Calgary Flames used power plays to score all their goals in a 3-2 win last Sunday night. Miroslav Dvorak in behind the Philadelphia goal, forming the play up with Howe. Mark Howe now skates to center ice. Dumps it over to Clarke on the right side. Stopping in the corner, right out in front for Howe. In front for Sittler. He could not get the puck, but a great scoring chance there for Philadelphia. Just missed. One pass too many as Howe chose to pass rather than shoot the puck. Dvorak inside the blue line. Sittler trapped on the offside. The face-off will come there, as we'll remind you that CTV's Wide World of Sports, there's Bobby Clarke, will be on a little earlier this Saturday in most areas due to the starting time of the NFL playoff games. So check local listings for the telecast time in your area.
Well, the Soviets, as you'd said, have been scored on 6 times on the power play. Out of 10 goals that the NHL got, 6 have been on the power play. And this Philadelphia team just had an excellent chance with Clarke and Howe and Sittler down in front. They really spread the people out. They leave 2 people all the way up at the blue line. to make sure the Soviets can't put too much pressure on them. They bring that puck up ice, especially with Mark Howe, who's got great speed and good puck handling ability.
Soviets, conversely, only 5 for 28 opportunities in this series. But having no trouble here, taking it back down to the Philadelphia zone. Larionov closing in, went a bit too far, being hounded in there, and Mark Howe comes up with it. Larionov gets tangled up in front of the net. Play down to the Soviet blue line now. Howe drags it in. Leaves it there for Daryl Sittler. His pass down to the corner picked off by Fetisov. Larionov at center ice. 49 seconds remaining in Pervukin's interference penalty. A funny bounce, but handled well by Lindbergh. Miroslav Dvorak for the Flyers. Relay down to the Soviet corner. Going after it there was Brian Krutov. Shottled across the ice. Back for number 24, Hoffmeyer. Hoffmeyer down to the corner. Kazatonov getting there first. Now this is Mark Taylor. Krop in behind. Krop trying to feed the puck out in front. Intercepting is Kazatonov. He fails to clear. From the point, the quick shot. Rebound. Just sailed over the glass. A fast shot by McCrimmon almost put the Flyers on top.
Well, the slap shot by McCrimmon and the rebound to Brian Krop, probably the quickest wrist on this Philadelphia hockey team. As you look at Kazatonov a little frustrated because he couldn't get to Krop quick enough, and Krop got a good shot away, put it up over the glass after it was deflected. Brian Krop has seen this man, Tretiak, before. He played against him in the World Tournament last year in Helsinki. Krop, one of the better players on Canada's World Team last year.
And we'll be seeing more of Mr. Tretiak in the intermission today. We've got a feature on the outstanding Soviet goaltender. Flyers still with 9 seconds in the power play. Pervukin about to come out of the box. Here's the shot. Blocked, drifts through a maze of players. Krop in behind, feeding it there. Dug out. Now Pervukin is on the ice. They're back at full strength. Zubkov playing it off the left boards. The relay down the ice into the center ice area. Now this is Mark Taylor. Drops it there, and a hard blast by Proc was handled by Tretiak. Taylor chasing it. Starikov coming up with it. Now Gorance moves in after the puck. But Bykov for the Soviet Union fails to clear. Bill Barber almost had a chance. Barber left it there. Kozhevenikov starts the Soviet play away on the left side. The shot drifts around the glass wide of the goal. Up the boards, kept into the Soviets. Now cleared for Barber in the center ice area. Dumps it over on the right side for Gorance. They play it in behind. Gorance or Vidyaletdinov running into Barber there. Play going right on. Near the 12-minute mark of this period. A long shot to Lindbergh. Soviets changing on the go. Mark Howe moves up the ice. 3 Soviets converge on him. Howe leaving it in behind the net. Kozhevenikov on the right boards for the Soviets, clearing the puck into center ice. Soviets shooting it in. Sinosalo can't keep it. Pervukin getting it up for Shepelev. Now for Semenov inside the blue line. Off the side of the Philadelphia net. Trying to jam it for a faceoff. Shepelev comes out right in front of the goal. Got a shot as he sailed out in front of the goal. Now for the Flyers is Sinosalo. He's got Paddock with him. Sinosalo skates to the corner. The Soviet defender falling there. Mark Taylor in the corner against Vidyaletdinov. Left there, the shot drifts wide from Sinosalo. Sinosalo with Paddock. Paddock goes down on a check in the Soviet corner. And the Soviets clear it back inside the Philadelphia Flyers blue line. They will change once again. Soviets changing frequently. Bouncing shot to Tretiak from the stick of Dvorak. Non-stop action here at the midway mark of period 1. Ben Wilson for Philadelphia into the cover. Gets some help in there now. Wilson still battling. Getting it back to Bobby Clarke, who's gone back to replace him on defense inside the blue line. Now for Wilson. Hits the Soviet line. Drops it inside. Couldn't make the pass quick. Forced back down the ice by Zlutkov. Left there at center ice. For Carson. Carson bumped hard by Bozakov. Very physical right now. Past the midway mark of the period. 9:28 to play. A scoreless hockey game. The crowd roaring here in the Philadelphia Spectrum. The Soviets finally will ice the puck. A stoppage in play with 9:19 to go. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Bozakov really took Lindsey Carson into the boards, and he got Carson a little excited after Carson had the opportunity to hit him behind the net, which he did. The icing came. Carson went back to the Soviet bench and started talking to Bozakov. A lot of emotion, a great deal of speed, a lot of good action out there tonight. Both teams extremely keyed up. Philadelphia with some excellent shooters if they get shots. Watch for number 2 Howe, number 7 Barber to really fire that puck. Those two along with Brian Propp. We see the little skirmish there between Carson and Bozakov. And Brian Propp, 3 of the best wrist shots in the league.
Well, it's an established fact by now. The Soviets don't sit back and take the rough stuff. They can retaliate with the best of them. Flyers with a chance here. A shot busted wide. Soviets bring it out promptly. Kazatonov to Larionov inside the blue line. Kazatonov keeps the puck inside the Philadelphia zone. But now here comes Daryl Sittler at center ice with Propp rolling it down off Tretiak's stick. Propp stopping in the corner. Against Timonev, it rolls to Vyacheslav Fetisov. The Bobby Orr, they call him, of Soviet hockey. 8 minutes, 42 seconds to play in the first period. They're scoreless here at the Philadelphia Spectrum. Timonev inside the blue line. Having trouble. Sittler jams it out to center ice for Propp. Comes across to McCrimmon. McCrimmon against Krutov. Had to leave it there. Here comes Fetisov. The backhand shot. A good save by Lindbergh. And McCrimmon bats it back down the ice for the Philadelphia Flyers. Kazatonov rolls it down beside the Philadelphia net. Shot ahead by Hoffmeyer. Now this is Evans. Beating Barber. Barber shooting. Rebound off the fine stop by Tretiak. But the Soviets come away with it. Bykov inside the blue line. It rolled off his stick. Held in by Starikov. Mark Howe for Philadelphia. Bumped by Bykov. It comes around to the other side. Cochran trying to clear. Soviets holding it in. Now Cochran comes away with it in a log jam at center ice. Shot the puck ahead for Starikov for the Soviet Union. Kozhevenikov. Vasilyev bodied there in the corner. His first shift tonight. Now Kozhevenikov drifts it in front for Vasilyev. Intercepted but held in by Bykov. 2-on-1. Here's the pass directly in front. Vasilyev scores for the Soviet Union, who take a 1-0 lead with 7:11 to play in the first period.
Well, a great play by Bykov, getting that puck on the far side and threading a pass across to Vasilyev. You'll see Bykov right there steal the puck, go to the far side, and Vasilyev being on the left-hand side, he could reach back and get that puck and score. It's a fortunate thing he was a left-hand shot. The pass a little behind him, but he gets enough on it to beat Lindbergh and put the Russians up by 1.
They have a lot of left-hand shots, Lou, on this Soviet team. It works for them frequently in that situation.
Soviet goal scored by number 6, Mikhail Vasilyev. Assist number 27, Vladislav Bykov. The time, 12 minutes, 49 seconds.
12:49, Vasilyev from Bykov. 1-0 for the Soviet Union. Philadelphia a little disorganized now in the Soviet zone. Less than 7 minutes to play in period number 1. And the Soviets have scored first. They've been awfully tough throughout this series whenever that has happened. The National Hockey League has won 2 of their 3 games with a 1-goal lead. That is, they had a 1-goal lead early in the 3 games, won 2 of them. Off the glass, in behind Lindbergh, in net for Philadelphia. Wilson with Taylor. A long shot by Wilson. Surprised Tretiak from that distance. Verhoeken has to leave it there for Taylor of Philadelphia. Taylor makes his pass back in the corner again. Paddock having difficulty. Soviets trying to break quickly. Habit makes the check. Keeps it back inside the line to Bill Yeletsina. Both teams changing now. The Bobby Clarke line coming out for the Flyers. 5 minutes and 56 seconds to play in the first period. Krutov inside the line. The wide angle shot handled by Lindbergh. 1-0 Soviets. In the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Mikhail Vasiliev on the assist from Sergei Babanov at 12:49. That's the Soviet lead of 1-0 with 5:46 to go in the first period. Bobby Clarke against Krutov on the faceoff to the right of the Philadelphia goal. Flyers winning it, left there in the corner for Bob Hoffmeyer. Up the boards for Carson. Clarke getting it out ahead at center ice. Ray Allison. Hoffmeyer slides it inside the blue line on contact. Here's the shot, high off the glass by Bobby Clarke. Carson leaves it there. Allison for Clarke, couldn't find him. Now it is Alexander Zvortsov. Barnikov on the pass offside inside the Flyers blue line.
The Soviets changing their style a little as we look at Ray Allison, who came over here from the Hartford Whalers, playing on the right wing with Clarke. The Soviets have allowed one of their people to load up high around the red line or blue line, trying to hold that Philadelphia defense back and get out a little easier from their own zone. And defensively, when they're in their zone, they're getting 4 men deep to take away the slot area from the Flyers right now.
We approach the 15-minute mark of the period. Trop having difficulty at center ice against Timonev. Timonev sending Krutov inside the line, taken down by Howe. Howe falling on the play. Comes in front of the goal. Here's a shot. Krutov scores. A wide open chance on the rebound. And the Soviets lead 2-0.
Well, you won't believe that one. After Krutov went in the corner to get the puck, he was taken in with a, look at him, he's a little dazed. He's taken in with a real heavy check by Holmgren. And it was so hard that it kept him there for a while. He's stunned. So by the time he reacts, the shot comes wide. He's just coming out of the corner. And the puck comes right to him. He's got a little time, and he puts it up and over Lindbergh.
He comes out saying what day it is, and they say, good morning. Here's the puck. Have a look at this chance. Boom, 2-0 Soviet.
Assist number 2, Vashislav Fetisov, along with number 28, Victor Tuliev.
Fetisov and Timonev get the assist on the second Soviet goal. The gift goal scored by Krutov. In they come again. Wave after wave of Soviet players coming in as Baikov works against Howe in the Philadelphia corner. The Soviets on top by 2-0. Kozha Venikov hard blast. Stopped by the goalie Lindbergh. And finally for the Flyers, back they come to the center ice area with Holmgren having difficulty. Takes it inside the line. Stick check smartly. And the Soviets, Kozha Venikov, backhands it out to center ice. A little over 4 minutes to go in the first period. Baikov circling at center. Now dumps it across the Flyer blue line. Up the boards for Bill Barber. The relay by Barber out to center ice. It is Vladimir Zubkov. Starikov. Long lead pass intercepted by Ben Wilson. Wilson blasts one, and Tretiak turns that to the corner. Gorance feeding it back into his zone. Now Barber feeding Gorance in the right wing over the blue line of the Soviet Union. Forced back into the corner by Zubkov. Can't make a play. Barber coming to help out as they jam it up for a face-off in the Soviet zone. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. There it is with 3:35 to go in the first period. All Soviet Union so far with a 2-goal lead. Vasiliev and Krutov, the marksman for the USSR. Faceoff coming back. Unable to get a shot away. Barber looked for the puck. Now it is Miroslav Dvorak being forced back to his own line by Svetlov. Almost coughed it up there. Soviets very dominant here in the first period. Krutov is offside of the blue line on the delayed call. It goes right on now as Barber feeds it across the center red line. But the Flyers having trouble getting organized attacks once they go on offense.
They're forcing a play a little, Don, getting too far ahead of the person with the puck, and they're stopped at the blue line.
Soviets have headed them off well right there at the Soviet blue line time and time again. Bilyeletdinov trying to feed Shepilev. Now we'll dump it down to the blue line. Ben Wilson as the Flyers and Soviets teams on the fly. 2:40 to play in the period. Here's Wilson. Roll off his stick too far ahead. A goal here late in this period would be of major significance in this hockey game for the Philadelphia Flyers if they can get one. Shot down by Sinisalov. Cleared to the line. Kept in there by Hofmeyer. In behind. Paddock right out in front of the goal. Did not get the shot away. And number 22 for the Soviets comes away. Lutkov. With Sportsov in the corner trying to find the puck. Rozakov. His shot blocked by the Flyer defense. The Flyers not able to break as quickly as they would like. The Soviets retreating and covering exceedingly well. A minute 48 to play in the period. Hofmeyer drifting a shot down beside Tretiak. Almost left inside the zone for the Soviets, but popped out to center ice. Now it is Sergei Babinov against two Philadelphia Flyers watching him. Soviets again changing very rapidly. Their big line of Larionov, Timonev, and Krutov is on the ice. Bobby Clarke inside the line. A lazy shot drifts off the stick of Tretiak off the board. Larionov jams it ahead for Krutov. Rink wide for Timonev. Left there. The red wave comes in again. Kazatanov booms one 15 rows high. Into the seats with a minute to play in the period.
What's happening to the Flyers, occasionally they're trying to come out of the zone three abreast, but when they're forechecked and the puck carrier takes his time coming out or circles back and the wings keep going up high, the wings already get to the Soviet blue line, and by the time the puck carrier comes, they've got no speed, so the puck's got to be thrown in. They're not coming up three abreast. They're either going to have to start out deeper together or take the puck back and circle back and come together if they're going to put some pressure on the Soviet defense.
Bob McCammon, their coach, has some between-period work to do with the Philadelphia Flyers, who trail 2-0. The delayed call now is made just outside the blue line. The face-off will occur right there with 51 seconds to go.
They're getting an initial pass up to the center iceman fairly well right inside the blue line, but he stopped and the other fellas are a little too far ahead, and he's not getting that puck up quick enough if he's going to have them going with some speed.
Shot bouncing past Lindbergh into the Philadelphia corner. They want to feed Clarke quickly on the break. Can't do so. Allison was turned back. Try it again. Left side this time. Here's Carson. Can't make the move around Kazatanov. Kazatanov passing to Timonev. Bobby Clarke keeping it in there in the corner as the Soviet player falls. Flyers looking for that pass out of nobody in front of the goal, however. The Soviets come away with it now. 20 seconds to play. Timonev makes his play. Backhand drive. Good save by Lindbergh. Still loose in there. Larionov keeping it in for the Soviets. Close call for a potential third goal right there. It's picked up by Fedosov. The Soviets will have a face-off in the Flyer zone with 3 seconds to play.
They call this man the Soviet Bobby Orr, but I've got to be honest with you. I don't think he's anywhere close to Bobby Orr. He's an excellent defenseman. He plays extremely well. He's probably as fine a defenseman as there is in a game today. But there's not a defenseman in the game today that could do what Orr could do when he was healthy. Here's a good chance by the Soviets breaking down 3-on-2. Timonev getting a good backhand shot away, but Cochran taking Larionov right into the net so he couldn't get the rebound.
It would be fair, Lunani, to say that by comparison, Bobby Orr, the best defenseman ever to play in North America. Well, this man Fedosov, the best the Soviets have ever had, and I guess that much is a valid comparison. They play the 3 seconds out. The Soviets on goals by Vasiliev at 12:49, and Krutov on a real scoring spree in the series at 15:03. Have a 2-0 lead over a stunned crowd here at the Philadelphia Spectrum. as the Flyers get off the mark slowly in Game 6. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. By copyright and played under authority of the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association. Bobby Clarke and Larionov at center ice. Referee Bruce Hood has them underway. Let's see now what moves the Flyers may have adjusted to between periods here. They want to implement in this second, being outplayed by a wide margin back in the first. Timonev couldn't get around the defense there, and it's picked up by Ray Allison. Shot back to center ice for the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers want to do something quickly, I would think, to reverse the trend of this game, which has been all Soviet Union so far. Clarke snaps a quick pass out at center ice. Carlson left there at the blue line by Cochran. Fetisov. Larionov. Offside was Krutov on the right wing. They face it off at the Flyers' blue line.
Well, the Flyers are going to have to work the puck down closer. And this man right there, Mark Howe, is one of the people capable of doing that. An excellent puck handler. They've got to get that puck down to the forwards close to the net, because in that first period, even though the Flyers had 8 shots down, 4 of them from the defensemen, and you know that you've got to get some opportunities on Tretiak if you're going to beat him, and they've got to be from close in.
Daryl Sittler wins the faceoff from Anatoly Semenov. Pass back into the center for Paul Holmgren. It's relayed down behind the Soviet goal. Holmgren going in after it now. Sittler having difficulty squeezing it out over the blue line finally. Shot back in. Offside called at the Soviet blue line. George Burns and Brooke Shields star an hilarious comedy of the heart, Just You and Me, Kid. Motion picture fun for the entire family. Monday night next on CTV. Verbuchen shooting at the length of the Spectrum ice. Hoffmeyer picks it up. Icing called against the Soviets.
Well, Hoffmeyer is playing with Philadelphia right now. Earlier this season in the waiver draft, he was picked up by Edmonton. He had a little problem with his back, didn't play much. They waved him back. Philadelphia picked him back. As we look at Bob McCammon, the man that had Hoffmeyer in Maine. He likes him a great deal. Brad Marsh out with an injury. McCammon has Hoffmeyer up here playing. And Bob McCammon doing one of the fine jobs, the real good jobs of coaching in the National League this season. Really has these Flyers disciplined.
They're a fine hockey team. Off to a slow start tonight, however, from the point. The shot, good stop by Tretiak. Carson let one go from back there. Soviets don't let it stay long in their zone, however. Verbuchen at center ice. Shot from the angle. Stopped by goaltender Pelle Lindberg. We didn't have much of a chance on either Soviet goal back in that first period. Hoffmeyer dug it ahead, too far for Holmgren. So the Flyers now make some changes. Again, shot down the ice. Icing is waved off. Lindberg there ahead of Shepard. Flyers breaking much better from their own zone now, but still faltering when they reach the Soviet blue line, as you saw right there. Krutov has it down behind the Soviet goal. Zubkov, long pass out to center ice. Kozhevenikov relays it in for Vasiliev. He is one of the 2 Soviet goals tonight. Krutov has the other. Now the Flyers swing inside the line. The backhand shot. Tretiak kicks that away from Paul Evans. Evans into the corner. Passed it semi-blindly in between 2 Philadelphia Flyers. But the puck is still in the Soviet zone. But not now as Bykov comes out with it. Gets around Wilson. Turning in the corner. Makes his play back to Starikov. A bouncing puck he controls. Slaps it from there. Deflected by Wilson off to the corner. Now Ben Wilson got a play up to Bill Barber. The booming slap shot by Goran, blocked by Tretiak and cleared back by the Philadelphia Flyers. Off a Flyers stick down the ice. It'll go once again. Tretiak rolling it around, so icing is waved off. Had to get there first against the on-rushing Flyer forward. Sinisalo getting some help from Paddock now as they bump it against the boards for a face-off about 3.5 minutes into this period. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
There's a good chance right there from Paul Evans with Tom Gores going into the rebound, but Tretiak just steered it off to the corner.
Soviets unable to clear at the blue line. Barnikov finally getting it out to center ice. Here's John Paddock now over on the far boards. Back to center it comes. Well, that commercial you saw was playing a moment or two ago. They were playing the theme from Rocky here at the Spectrum. That might be a mistake. The Soviets said it was a very inspirational movie for them. Out in front, a good scoring chance there. Unable to get very much on it with Sinisalo. And it comes back to the Philadelphia Flyers blue line for Cochran. But the Flyers much improved here in the second period. Howe rolls it in. Two Soviet defenders there to guard against that puck reaching Tretiak. Now over on the right side, Sfortsov. Sfortsov shooting. Hit the goal post. Almost 3-0 right there as they allowed Sfortsov to sail right in. Offside called at the Soviet blue line.
Well, Don, you're right. The Philadelphia Flyers are coming up as a unit more, and this man right there, Zluktov, just made a great play when Sfortsov had the chance. The pass was coming to him. As the defenseman Cochran moved up on him, he let it go through. He's one of the older fellows on the team, and by the way, one of the bigger ones. He let it go through. Sfortsov coming to the wide side. He got free, came off the right, took that shot, and just hit the pipe.
So it remains 2-0 Soviets. We're getting close to the 5-minute mark of this second period here at the Philadelphia Spectrum.
It's going to be a tripping penalty on Bobby Clarke.
That'll be the Flyers' first penalty of this game. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Bobby Clarke giving the Russians the first power play opportunity of the evening as he gets called for tripping right there in front of Bruce Hood, taking out the Russian defenseman. So Bobby Clarke sitting out the penalty, the Russians having their first power play opportunity of the evening.
Hood fairly lenient so far, has called just one other. That was to Pervukin back in the first period for interference. 15:29 to play. The Soviet power play not overwhelmingly effective here in this series so far. Just 5 goals in 28 chances.
Well, the Philadelphia Flyers have just called Krutov's stick for a measurement, and should that be bigger than the half-inch, that's a good call by McGammon. If it's bigger than a half-inch, I'm sure they know it is. That would allow the Russians to get a penalty.
Yeah, you can obviously see there that this stick is illegal. And penalty's being called by Bruce Hood. That'll be 2 minutes for playing with an illegal stick.
Lou Nolan down there in the penalty box giving us the information, the illegal stick called against the Soviet Union.
Chev, the only thing wrong with calling the penalty at that time, had they been wrong, then the Flyers would have been assessed a delay of game and been 5 against 3. A better time to call it would be if they had a man advantage, if they're still behind, and then call it, and then they'd get up 5-3.
I agree, except you've seen those Soviet sticks. You saw them in the corridor in Minnesota. I think McCammon had a 100% chance of getting a call.
Right,
they are
there.
all way out of whack in terms of regulation.
Especially this fella. He and Fedosov are the two worst. But they had been talking earlier about fixing him. Apparently the Flyers had them checked before the game, and he's a little disturbed. But that's why rules are made. If you want to play, follow the rules.
Another surprising thing tonight, as you see Krutov in the penalty box, is that Kapustin and Shalamov, two of their fine veteran forwards, very effective. I thought both of them in this series. Neither is in the lineup tonight as the Soviets dressed just 22.
Well, you have to remember that they're the older fellas, and they do have a great deal of depth. The Flyers also missing Ron Flockhart, one of their outstanding forwards, and Tim Kirk.
So a timely measurement as far as the Flyers are concerned has the teams even here now. A man short each as the shot is blasted by Timonev wide at the short side. Taylor for the Philadelphia Flyers getting it around to Hoffmeyer. The relay comes off the boards by Taylor into the center ice area. On to Larionov's stick. Now Fetisov. Courting danger against Howe in front of his own goal. Gets turned around by Howe. Kazatonov to Larionov. He and Krutov, two of the most impressive Soviet forwards in this series. Viktor Timonev. Fetisov, the rushing defenseman, to Larionov. 2-on-2. In they come over the blue into the corner. Puck bouncing loose in there. McCrimmon getting it free for the Philadelphia Flyers. Around to Howe. Less than a minute to go. 55 seconds in the two penalties, one each side. Hoffmeyer left it there for Fetisov of the USSR. Soviets, 6 minutes into the period, hold a 2-0 lead. Both goals in the first, offside. The pass from Barber into Daryl Sittler.
You people might have seen Mark Howe up front as Larionov right now going to the bench on that exchange. There's 4 and 4 on the ice, and Bob McGammon moves Mark Howe up front, which is a real good move. He does that because there's more ice surface available. Mark, the best skater on the team, along with Sinicello, and a great stick handler and excellent shot, has a good opportunity to be dangerous. And anytime he gets in a 4-on-4 situation or a penalty kick situation, Howe's got that flexibility, and boy, he's dangerous.
He has 12 goals as a defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers. 30 seconds to go now in the two penalties. Ben Wilson for the Flyers. Drops it on the left side for Barber. The pass back into Wilson. Sittler inside the line, too. Sittler cruising out in front for a scoring chance. If Barber can get it to him, but he cannot. Guarded back there, and the Soviets come up with it. Shepilev, rink wide. Wilson has to hurry against number 15, Svetlov. Svetlov jams into the boards, taking over now. Dvorak for the Philadelphia Flyers. Time has expired on those two penalties. The team's back to full strength once again. Sittler shooting. Tretiak down. Rebound still loose. Under Tretiak. A whistle stops the play, but a close scoring chance right there for the Philadelphia Flyers. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
You'll see Daryl Sittler. He gets a good opportunity right here with a shot, and Clarke and Barber both going for the rebound. Had opportunities, but Tretiak just throws the puck. Fine opportunity for the Flyers, but Tretiak makes the save and covers the rebound.
Face-off. Evans taking it for the Philadelphia Flyers against Bykov. Bykov digs it back into the corner for the Soviet Union. Starikov back to Bykov. They break so quickly. Bykov fanned on the shot into the Flyer zone. Soviets will organize again. The pass too far for Vasiliev. Vasiliev digs into the corner. Kozhevenikov can't control the puck. Out to Starikov at center ice. Flyers had a good start to this period, but have not sustained the action, although now have outshot the Soviets 13-11. There's 10-8 Soviets in the first period. Kozhevenikov taken down over on the far boards. There'll be another Philadelphia Flyer penalty. This one looks like elbowing. The Soviet NHL Series 83 will continue in just a moment. A free agent from Finland, Sinisalo, takes the penalty against Kozhevenikov. He tackled him right there.
He really didn't have to do that, Don, because he was in a good enough position where Kozhevenikov wouldn't have been able to get to that puck before the other defenseman of Philadelphia was backing up the play.
So here's the Soviet power play led by their top five out there. Fetisov, Kazatonov back on the point. Timonev, Larionov, Krutov, the attackers. Kazatonov blasting the shot. Rebound, and on the short side, that's sailed wide with Lindbergh the other direction.
Well, the Soviets reverting to the power play with two men down deep again and feeding that puck out to Kazatonov at the point. Kazatonov tries to get that puck in the middle to both people standing in front who will be screening and also trying to deflect the shot. The one shot goes wild, and the second shot just to the side of the net.
And until this series, we have not seen the Soviets shoot as much as they have from the point. Right there, right on Lindbergh to save off Kazatonov. Normally, they would do this. pass it around for as much as 90 seconds if need be. But no, a booming blast again going wide from Fetisov. Those point men command respect now. Howe coming up with it. He'll backhand it, but not out. Fetisov is forced out. Yes, the linesman called it offside.
Well, this line, Larionov, Krutov, Timonev, Fetisov, and Kazatonov, the leading scorers of the Russian team, and also have the most shots on net. One of the reasons they're always playing the power play. And this fella right here, Kazatonov, has probably as fine a shot as Fetisov, and they both like to boom him. You know, we've never seen the Soviets miss the net as much, but that's because we've never seen the Soviets shoot as much. Usually they would wait for better shots than they do now. They shoot from bad angles now, and they try to shoot more often, but they go for more deflections than they did before.
The Soviets now have 21 goals in the series, and this line you've talked about has accounted for half that total, almost, with 10. Fetisov starting from beside Tretiak. Just over a minute left in the Philadelphia Flyers penalty to Sittler for holding. Now they take their time in the center ice zone as the Flyers come out to meet them. Kazatonov brings it inside. Krutov from the right boards can't get a pass away. Bounces high. Caught slamming away at it. To the blue line. Held in by Kazatonov. Rolled down there. Held in by Fetisov. Larionov feeds it across to Krutov. Now Larionov. Krutov. They're everywhere. Kazatonov. Fetisov. Over to the other point. Drifts it in for Larionov. Krutov back to Fetisov. Right beside the goal. A pretty play, and it's 3-0 for the Soviet Union as they whip that puck around. Larionov stationed just beside the goal. 3-0 Soviet.
Well, that's the type of play the Soviets used to make. First of all, they move that puck so quickly you hardly have a chance to set up. But watch the pass across to the off wing. That was their standard play rather than a shot from the blue line. Earlier in this series, and most of the times right here, Fetisov's been shooting. Now he slides it across to Larionov on the open wing, coming in with a wide open angle at the net, and he scores the goal. The Soviets put on a classic display of almost no-touch passing right there. The puck was hardly on their stick, and it was gone.
So the unnecessary penalty by the Flyers, Sittler, really cost them that time as the Soviets get a power play goal. They make it 3-0. Shot going wide, rebound there. Shot also wide by Ray Allison. Bobby Clarke tries to jam it out in front. Still has control behind the Soviet goal. Whips it out in front. The quick shot by Carlson. Now Bruce Hood will whistle down a penalty against the Soviet Union. So the Flyers will have a power play with a 3-0 deficit to face. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Well, as Philadelphia is putting on a little pressure, you're looking at Tretiak right there, Vladislav Tretiak, who just got a slashing penalty. He was in front of the net, taking a slash right there at the Philadelphia player. No doubt about it. Referee Bruce Hood right on it. Tretiak going with the first penalty. Varnikov's going to serve it. The Flyers are going on the power play. Tretiak apparently doesn't like to be bothered.
You wrap that stick on the back of Carson, and Hood right there called the penalty for slashing against the Soviet goaltender Tretiak.
Actually, Carson was taken into the net on Tretiak. And Tretiak a little disturbed. He was down and he slashed. And it was a pretty wicked slash right there at Carson. And now the Flyers having the opportunity to get their first goal of the evening.
Maybe not up to Smith standards in Long Island, but a pretty good slash just the same from a goaltender. Daryl Sittler now, the Flyers with the power play advantage. Bobby Clarke in the corner with it. Pushing and shoving in front of the goal. Holmgren getting turned around. Howe shooting. Rebound there for Bukin. Got his stick on it and brought it out for the Soviet Union. But right off the bat, a good scoring chance for the Flyers, who need to score desperately now, trailing 3-0.
That's because Holmgren's screening in front.
At the blue line. Howe with Clarke. Sittler turning and almost rattled one in right there. Bilyletdinov got his leg on it. Down the ice it comes, but a good-looking power play for the Philadelphia Flyers right now. Their most impressive of the night. Just past the midway mark in the period, the midway mark in this final NHL Soviet hockey confrontation. Markow. Pervukin against him, and Pervukin wants to freeze it, can't do so, comes free for Holmgren. Out of the left point. Holmgren again down beside that goal as it hop over his stick. Soviets shoot to the line, Clarke flags it down. Holmgren against Vidyaletvinov, they both overskate the puck left there. Out for Hoffmeyer, back to the corner again. Sittler, Hoffmeyer holding it there to Darryl Sittler. Clarke and Sittler, veterans against the Soviet team. Sittler popping it near the front of the goal. Clarke in behind. 15 seconds to go in the Soviet penalty. Flyers patiently form their play up. Sittler waiting, back to Clarke. Out in front, loose puck, Sittler jams at it. It'll be held right there. Tretiak complaining. 6 seconds left in the penalty to Tretiak, being served by Varnikov.
Well, he certainly was complaining because he hasn't seen anybody stand in that crease or in front of him as consistently and as well as Paul Holmgren just did. Holmgren fighting off two defensemen. Look at him in front. He just sets up camp right there, not allowing Tretiak to see the puck, and he wasn't about to be moved. If the Flyers could have worked the puck to the middle and got a shot through it, could have been dangerous. Tretiak really being screened. No defenseman able to get Holmgren out of there.
He was tough to move out of there. It looked like he was bolted to the ice. He just stood there at will in front of the Soviet goal.
Holmgren does that very effectively. One of the best in the league at standing in front of that goal.
15 saves each way for Lindbergh and for Tretiak now. Just 6 seconds to go in that penalty. Zubkov up the boards for Kozhevenikov. Flyers trailed 3-0. 8.5 minutes to go in the second period. Paddock over on the board. Into that Soviet corner. Work the other side. Sinosilo leaving it in there. And Evans rolled it ahead. Was forced to play it back down to his own zone. 8 minutes to go in period 2. Sinosilo, left wing pass. Wide angle shot. Turned aside by Tretiak. Flyers almost bringing it right out in front by Paddock, who couldn't control the puck when he had a chance to wheel and shoot. Hoffmeyer, Kozhevenko in the corner. Fetisov now back at center ice. More checking by Tom Gorans for Philadelphia Flyers. Soviets bring it smartly inside the line. Kozhevenikov to Bykov. Bykov leaving it behind the net. Now Hoffmeyer with it. Ahead to Sittler. Gorans shooting it down to the corner. Bill Barber going in after it. Pass right out in front. Sittler shoots. Great save by Tretiak from point-blank range. Tretiak is down. He felt the force of that blow, and he has been injured on the play, lying on his stomach.
Well, Fetisov gave that puck up right to Sittler in the slot. Sittler blasts that puck. Fetisov.
Well, the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
As we were going to say, Fetisov looking very human, giving this puck away blindly right in the center slot area, and Sittler getting a real fine shot away. One that got up high, and Tretiak knocked him down, and he was hurt.
Back on his feet, staying in the game. Tretiak stunned by that blast from Sittler. Here comes Timonev. His hard drive, handled by Lindbergh. Flyers coming away with it. Bill Barber playing more than many expected him to tonight. His first game since December the 4th, but they obviously feel they need the experience and skill of a player like Barber. It's called on the offside there at the Soviet line.
You're right, Don. They said he was going to play 2-3 shifts. He's been playing a great deal, and as the game goes on, he's playing more and more. That's Tom Gorans right in front of him, who's got away with his helmet. He used to wear a helmet, not wearing it anymore. See Darryl Sittler coming off. Sittler, Barber, and Clarke having the best chance so far this period for Philadelphia. And those three fellas among the best in the decade. Hockey players. What a great threesome.
Indeed. Face off in the center ice area. Semino passed it over to the Philadelphia player Holmgren. Now Wilson starting out at center ice. Hit, rolls off his stick. Quickly the Soviets come back in. Svetlov knocked off balance inside the blue line by Dvorak. And it's shot down the ice by the Philadelphia Flyers. Icing will be the call here. Picked up by Bilyaletdinov. They'll face off in the Flyers zone. This NHL Soviet Series 83 is a special presentation of CTV Sports in association with TV Labatt. This program is copyright and strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition of this telecast without the express written permission of the CTV Television Network and TV Labatt is strictly prohibited.
They were just looking at Bilyaletdinov, and he's called Alphabet because of all the words or letters in his name.
So play underway with 6:15 to play in the period. The Soviets have padded their lead now with a third goal. Here's a chance for a fourth. Shepelev got turned away right in front. Good play by Dvorak in there, as the Soviets are oh so dangerous when you give them half a chance. In on the goaltender. Dvorak having difficulty. Wilson helps him bat it back to the Philadelphia corner now. And again, the Flyers have to shoot it down the ice. This one will not go far enough to be called for icing. For Buchan, ahead to Barnikov. Barnikov hits the Flyer line, gets turned around. Smart play by Wilson. Flyers coming in. Can't make a play. Krutov got turned around inside the blue line. The Soviets, Barnikov with it now. He feeds Vozakov. Vozakov drifted it on the short side wide. Davidoff containing it at the blue line. Now for Zlutkov. Into the slot, picked up by the Flyers, and here they come. The backhand pass for Taylor never reached it. And Barnikov has it at center. 5 minutes to play in the period. Barnikov drops the pass to Zlutkov. And for the Philadelphia Flyers, it is Ray Allison. Taylor at the point, rolls it in front. Allison against Vozakov. And they're going to try to freeze it there. Cannot do so. Carson dug it loose, but it comes all the way out outside the Soviet blue line. Bobby Clarke. Allison. Shot blocked by Davidoff. Quickly in front, the pass. Nobody home. Allison hits Clarke with it behind the goal. Now the dangerous Vasiliev gave the puck up. Slap shot right on. Tretiak rebound, and Clarke couldn't poke it in. Off a Soviet skate and down the ice it goes.
Philadelphia putting on a great deal of pressure at that time, testing Tretiak a couple times. Philadelphia playing with more poise, more flow to their game, and this man right here just never quits. Amazing youngster, and we call him youngster because he plays like a 20-year-old.
He seems like he can play forever. Here was the good scoring opportunity right there. The puck coming right through a screen. Tretiak, the middle of the net, equal to it. The rebound just missed by Clarke.
That was Carson taking a shot, and Clarke was right on the doorstep.
The Labatt's Player of the Game Awards will be presented to the outstanding players on each team as selected by our telecast crew. They will each be receiving, as they have throughout the series, a Panasonic Way mini stereo cassette player.
There's one thing Bobby Clarke's got. He's got so much drive and desire. If you can ever find a way to just bottle it and sell it, you could have a great deal of fun making money, because that is... You're looking at Bob McGammon right there. That's one thing that you can't give a fella. He's got it. He just has the kind of ability to lead a hockey club and never quit.
Indeed. You know, Canadians win tax-free lotteries, but if you're an American, the story's different. This report and more in the first edition of W5 for 1983 on Sunday night. We've got something going on now at the bench. Bruce Hood skates over again. Another measurement. Let's go to Lou
Okay, here
Dolan.
we go again. Stick measurement. Looks like a banana. Vasiliev stick. And here it comes. Referee Bruce Hood. 2-minute minor to Vasiliev, playing with an illegal stick.
You know, I was talking with Tom Watt, the Winnipeg Jets coach who worked on our telecast. he would like to see the rules scrapped altogether. How do you feel about it?
Well, actually, I think he's probably right. I don't know why you can't use a stick with a bigger hook, say, than a ½ an inch. The reason why they finally put the rule in, when you had a fellow like Bobby Hull shooting that puck with that big curve, it used to play tricks on the goaltender. They were afraid a goaltender was going to get hurt, but the goaltenders are really well protected right now. And you could probably put nearly as much spin with a ½ inch curve as you could with an 1.5 inches. So if a fellow wants to use it, it takes away maybe from some of the other parts of the game, and it might be worthwhile to extend it to 1 inch or 1.5 inches.
However, the rule is in effect right now, and Vasiliev will indeed serve the Soviets' second minor penalty for an infraction of the curve on the stick. The stick also thrown out of play by Bruce Hood as he announced the penalty after the measurement. The Soviet sticks, most that I've seen and Lou Nanne have seen, are all that way. This can go on all night. Here's Howe. Blasting one wide. Oh, and Holmgren fanned on the rebound. Howe again scores! Flyers on the board. Now it's 3-1.
Both Bobby Clarke and Paul Holmgren screening down in front. In fact, there's a little confrontation right there after the goal was scored, but the bullet drive from Mark Howe, one of the best wrist shots in the game from the blue line. He just beats Tretiak. Watch this man shoot a puck. He shoots rockets right through the legs. You saw Holmgren and Clarke in front. Had the Krutov getting a little upset after. Made a gesture to Clarke, and Holmgren got right in there. But the score from Howe puts Philadelphia on the board, and the Soviets lead 3-1.
If you'll notice, it was a well-directed, hard wrist shot. He snapped in there past Tretiak. And the American flags are waving.
The Soviets are going to run down to the dressing room after the period and try and take all those hooks out, because they could be getting calls for the rest of the night.
The rule is there in Olympic and international hockey, but apparently in Europe, it's kind of a gentleman's agreement. It is not done. But here in the National Hockey League, the Flyers twice tonight have enforced them to their advantage, certainly on this occasion. The power play goal makes it 3-1. And this crowd and the Philadelphia Flyers have both come alive. 3 minutes and 39 seconds to play in the second period. Howe again inside the Soviet line, but it's called to the offside. The goal, Howe at 16:04. Dvorak getting the assist on the power play for Philadelphia.
You know, he could shoot a puck like that when he was 16 years old. He came over and came to Minneapolis. The World Team tryouts were there at that time. He was 16. He made the team. He just come out there and sail across the blue line, flick his wrist, and it was incredible how that puck would fly.
Lou Sittler also gets an assist on Howe's goal. Sittler and Dvorak from Howe. Was it the 1972 Olympics he broke in at 16? I believe it was.
Yeah, and if there's anything to heritage, you can remember how his father shot the same way.
Yep.
A little flick of the wrist.
Bill Barber now will take the face-off against the Soviets' Svetlov, who moves in. A rejuvenated Philadelphia Flyer team here, but Svetlov got knocked down at center ice, heading for the Philadelphia blue line. It is Barber with it. Barber to Gorentz. Vidyaletdinov shuts him off. The shot blasts wide. Hoffmeyer failing to hold it in. Getting it across to McCrimmon. For Sittler. Sittler into the corner against Pervukin, runs him into the board. Shepelev hit by Barber from behind. Barber can't win it though. High stick, bats the puck down. They allow it to go right off. Pervukin's lost his helmet. Svetlov now. Trying to play it inside the Philadelphia line, has no success. Vidyaletdinov has to go back to his own zone. 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. Here's Shepelev. Shepelev, a good move, and then couldn't get all he wanted and drifted it wide as Lindbergh hangs on.
Good move, a great move. Shepelev making just a fine move on his skates at full speed. Throws Hoffmeyer, slipped that puck right through. Just watch the kind of agility on skates he's got. Just a little touch of the puck right through the legs, and Hoffmeyer has got to pull him down because it was quite a move by Shepelev. He was trying to score himself, but the puck didn't go in. He figured if he went in the net, maybe that'd count.
And he hit that puck, Lou, falling nose first onto the ice. One thing in mind, make contact, and he did. Just shot it wide. Viktor Slutkov now on the face-off against Holmgren, who goes down on the pile. Soviets keep it in. Wide, the shot from Bozakov out in front. Lindbergh down wide open net, and they make it a 4-1 hockey game.
Lindbergh reaching for that puck after the shot came from the blue line. Varnikov just off to the side was able to backhand it past the outstretched hand of Lindbergh. Just that kind of goal really hurts because it was almost a meaningless play, a bad shot from the blue line off to the side. Watch it bounce.
Chopped it free there, yeah.
And it's all just a backhand shot by Varnikov as he's reaching for it. I think it was Babinoff that fired it from the blue line. No, it wasn't.
But bad luck right here as the goalie slammed his stick down. It popped it right out there for the Soviet player Mikhail Varnikov, who makes it a 4-1 hockey game. 17:30 is the time in the second period. So the Flyers have got some work to do now. 4-1 Flyers was the score of the infamous first meeting here on January 11th, 1976, almost 7 years ago. But the Flyers won that one. Dvorak passing it ahead at center ice. Long shot handled easily by Tretiak. Holmgren swoops in on the puck now. Another shot on Tretiak. A soft one. He turns it aside. Soviets can score so quickly just when you think you've got some momentum going for yourself, as the North Stars found out in Minnesota on Tuesday night. Took the first goal, but back a 2-2 tie, and the Soviets sailed away on them. Here's Bobby Clarke. Stick check smartly at the blue line. Vasiliev to Kozhevenikov. Kozhevenikov, a series of great moves, rolls it in front. Starikov hit the goal post. Blasting a slap shot on the right goal post. Just over a minute remaining here in the second period. Soviets 4, Flyers 1. Markow. In goes Allison. And Zubkov was there to block his scoring attempt. Kozhevenikov. Soviet player falling in front of the goal. Bobby Clarke. Rolls it out to center ice with 40 seconds to play. Inside the blue line. Here's Krutov shooting a high blast. Lindbergh handled that. Krutov in behind. Kozhevenikov getting out in front. Rolling it there for Larionov. Through him. Fetisov. Krutov. And they fail to hold it there. Clarke digs it out for the Flyers. The long shot by Allison is way up and among the spectators. 11 seconds remaining.
Well, the Soviets with a couple of real good opportunities there, throwing the puck around. Bykov especially at the blue line making a fine play. But I'll tell you, one man for the Philadelphia Flyers that's everywhere tonight's Bobby Clarke. He's back deep helping out. He made a great play to Allison there. Allison wasn't expecting it. Just a touch pass. Allison would have had a good chance. And this man, Kozhevenikov, that went behind the net, made a fine pass out to Steryakov right there. What a fine player he's going to be.
Here are the Flyers now. A quick shot by Paddock is turned aside. Just 3 seconds to go in the period. It hops in among the spectators over the glass with 2 seconds remaining.
Kozhevenikov, who missed a couple of games, out there tonight just dancing. Number 29 for the Soviets, has been extremely dangerous all night long.
Bozakov and Zlutkov got the assists on Varnikov's 4th Soviet goal. And that came at 17:30.
Well, Zlutkov got the draw back to Bozakov. He took the shot, and that's when Varnikov was right in front. Bozakov, by the way, has played a very good game back on defense and extremely physical, using his body quite well.
Puck is batted down, but the whistle of the siren sounds to end the second period here as the Philadelphia Flyers came to life ever so briefly when Howe blasted one through with a good wrist shot from just inside the blue line at 16:04. But then Varnikov came right back down at 17:30 to reinstate a 3-goal Soviet lead, and indeed they do have that margin at 4-1. 2 periods complete here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Into that one. So he has been a man to be reckoned with here in this series. Tretiak, as have many of the Soviet players. Third period is underway. Fetisov getting it ahead to Howe at the blue line of the Philadelphia Flyers. Kazatonov booms one from outside the blue line, gloved by Pelle Lindbergh. Bobby Clarke could not reach that pass out coming from Glenn Cochran. Slides down for Fetisov. Flyers, an early icing call, 23 seconds in.
Well, those are the kind of things that Philadelphia has to improve on. Bobby Clarke was in a perfect position right there. The pass to him just wide. Had he got that, the Flyers were just looping up high. They'd had a 3-on-2 break, at least out of their own zone. They've got to be a little sharper, Philadelphia does, coming out of the zone. Bob McGammon probably going to call another curved stick or two this period.
Yeah, that came in handy for him. One resulted in a goal on the power play. Sittler won the faceoff. Carson trying to jam it up the boards, aided by Dorrance. They could not do so. Now they pop it free. Here's Darryl Sittler at center ice with Dorrance. The pass came back over the Soviet blue line. Now it's brought in by Hoffmeyer. Hoffmeyer tracks it there for Dorrance. Shooting, and Tretiak was ready for it. Brad McCrimmon over on the far side. Trying to apply some pressure now, the Flyers are, but the Soviets awfully tough to hold in there. Kazatanov can't reach a rolling puck in behind the goal. Sittler gets there first, checked by Kazatanov. High shot by Barber was gloved down. Barber keeping it in. Barber can't get enough wood on it. Battling for possession, going down. Now Panik is taken down, and Shekelev comes away with it. The relay in for Svetlov. Dvorak watching him. About 2 minutes into the third period, still 4-1 Soviets. The Flyers now coming out. Soviet back checking very effective. It is shot into the Soviet zone. Tretiak stopping it there for Bukin. Past Svetlov. Dvorak shoots it in. It is whistled down there. They'll face off outside the Soviet blue line. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. And that is the time remaining in this series. 17:57, the Soviets with a 4-1 lead. Face-off just outside the Soviet blue line is shot in by Mark Howe, who has the only Flyer goal tonight. Taylor against Starikov. The Soviet wins. Taylor gets it back. Taylor backhands a shot, a quick shot, stopped by Tretiak. Now pop in the corner. Down to one knee he goes, feeds it in behind. Starikov passing it around for Kozhevenikov. Vasilyev finally brings it out to the center ice area for the Soviet Union. Hits the Flyer blue line and had it taken away from him by Cochran. Taylor right beside the goal. It's jammed out in front. Holmgren rolling it there and no one to help him pop it in. Starikov gulps it down the ice. The Soviet Union will be called for icing here. Back goes Cochran to pick it up. Face off in the Soviet zone.
Well, Philadelphia much more able to get the puck in the zone this period, and especially by firing it in. They've been putting the puck in, getting some pressure. As we look at Mark Taylor, a boy that learned his hockey at the University of North Dakota, was Player of the Year in the United States colleges, and then drafted by Philadelphia. But Philadelphia putting the pressure on, free net puck, and Tretiak didn't even see Holmgren there. The puck just went across the goal mouth. He almost had a goal. Here's Mark Taylor fighting for it. Look at Tretiak, the other side. You see that?
Way out of position.
Boy, if it could have only come free in Holmgren's stick, he could have just banged it home right there.
And it's obvious what the Flyers need is a quick score right now to get back into this game. Trailing by 3. Bobby Clarke, he's played his heart out again tonight. Wins that face-off, then fell. They jam away on the Soviet boards. But the Soviet Union now picking it up across the blue line to center ice. Sportsov. Long pass over for Varnikov. Intercepted. Bobby Clarke at center. Clarke, right wing pass. Steered just wide by Tretiak. Clarke rolling it in front, and down goes Tretiak to hang on. They'll stop it there with 16:29 remaining.
Well, you saw Clarke with perfect position behind the net get that puck free.
The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
You see Bobby Clarke behind, getting position and getting that puck out front, trying to free it up. as Babanov dives on him.
Daryl Sittler will face Larionov on the draw. Wins it, but nobody across there to collect it for the Philadelphia Flyers. Krutov shot is blocked by Dvorak. Dvorak gets it away from Timonev. Barber. Goran's chasing it in there against Fetisov. Turns him around, takes him down, but it slid down the ice by the Soviets. Barber bumping Krutov at center. Timonev pass to a Flyer. Barber inside the line, could not get the relay from Sittler. Now Bruce Hood whistles play down in the center ice area. Tretiak was coming way out of his goal. Bill Barber, you see, just back from an injury suffered on the 4th of December, back about 2 weeks ahead of schedule. He's been cleared to play, and play he has tonight.
When we talk about shooters in the game, and we were talking earlier about Mark Howe, this is the other fella. He and Mark Howe and Brian Propp, 3 of the best shooters in the NHL, all on the same team. A fabulous wrist shot, one of the all-time great scorers on the left side, and a complete hockey player.
And like Bobby Clarke, he too seems to go on forever. Bill Barber. Timonev coming down alone now, getting some support finally. The hard drive handled by Lindbergh. The big rebound for Krutov in front. Back to Kazatonov. That is stopped with a stick of Pele Lindbergh. In goal for the Philadelphia Flyers. Kazatonov to Fetisov. Bad angle. Will take it down to the corner and leave it there. Passing it back for Kazatonov. Pops it across to the other point man. It's offside. 4:35 into the period. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. It's 4-1 here. Montreal leading the LA Kings 4-3 second period tonight. Toronto ahead of Washington 2-1 in the third. Vancouver ahead of Hartford 6-3 third period. In the regular National Hockey League play, but all eyes squarely focused on Philadelphia for this last matchup between the Soviets and the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Soviets, oh, so hard to come back on when they get a lead like this, 3 goals. Have it inside that Philadelphia Flyers zone again. Cleared to the blue line. Not out. Jam away. Finally forced it at the blue line as they poked forward along the boards. And the Soviet Shepelev kept it in while he fell. Shepelev down to the corner. Semenov in front. Shepelev brought it right out in front. Here's the shot. He scores. Number 31, Anatoly Semenov. 5-1 for the Soviet Union.
Well, Svetlov shot the puck from the slot area. I believe it was deflected off a skate. It might have gone off Shepelov's skate. Watch the puck after it's centered out. Svetlov, number 15, will be in the slot area after this puck is cleared. A good move by Shepelov there, centered to Svetlov. Now the shot comes, and it looked like it could have even hit Lindbergh's skate, but a good move there by Shepelov, then centered back out. And Semenov centering it to Svetlov, and he puts it in.
By number 31, Anatoly Semenov. Assist number 15, Sergei Svetlov, along with number 21, Sergei Shepelev.
Shepelev and Svetlov get the assist. Just past the 5-minute mark. Here's Bykov's hard shot. That's stopped by Lindbergh. Soviets all over the Philadelphia Flyers, and a real shocker here at 5-1 tonight. McCrimmon now. We welcome the viewers on Sports Channel in New York City. You've just joined us for the remaining action here. A little under 15 minutes to go. The Soviets lead the Philadelphia Flyers 5-1. Don Chevrier, Lou Nanny-Whitty with the spectrum. In the corner is Vasiliev losing control. Bykov battling for it. Back to Mikhail Vasiliev. He can't make the play. Now Bykov. He has a Soviet goal tonight, as does Vasiliev. This line has played well. They get it back. Pass for Sarakov, intercepted and shot down the ice by Brian Krutov. Past the 6-minute mark of this, the third period. Soviet Union jumping off to a 2-0 first period lead. Outscored the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 in the second. Semenov's made it 5-1 here in the third. Yet the Flyers have outshot them by 3. Barnikov brings it inside the Flyer line. Wilson makes the check. Kurtzov in behind, lost possession. Carson couldn't find it at center ice. Play ragged and scrambly now in the center ice area. Time and time again, the comeback bids, the Philadelphia Flyers have been thwarted at center or at the Soviet blue line as they move out to head them off. Wilson for the Philadelphia Flyers. Makes the play right in front of the goal. Rolling it there, still bouncing. Carson had a chance. They couldn't capitalize. Zlutkov trying to make his pass out in front. Rolls back to the point. Fine defenseman Fetisov couldn't contain it there for the Soviets, but picks it up now. 4-3 Edmonton winning, 3-2 Calgary winning. The other victories for the Soviets. 3-0 Quebec, 5-0 Montreal, 6-3 Minnesota, and ahead 5-1 here in the finale. They have now outscored the National Hockey League by more than 2-1 in the 6-game series. 24 Soviet goals, 11 for the National Hockey League to this stage. Blocked by Barber. Barber with a chance. Shoots quickly. Tretiak to save. Howe gloves it down, holds it in for Barber. Bill Barber can't get his shot away against Timonev. Kazatanov makes the check. Vyacheslav Fetisov, the Soviet captain, works it slowly ahead the left side now. Krutov going right through, finally got caught by Howe, couldn't get a shot away. Dorrance rolled it ahead. Right back to the Philadelphia corner it comes, time and time again. Soviets heading off the Philadelphia Flyers. Checking well both ends, here they come. Three-man break, Krutov rolls it in front, Dorrance intercepts for Philadelphia. Dumps it across the Darryl Sittler, it is offside. The Soviet blue line. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Evans on the face-off for the Philadelphia Flyers. Sinisalo on his left and Paddock on his right. Brad McCrimmon, the Flyer defenseman, jams that down to the Soviet corner. Pass for Vukin's stick. Vukin coming up with it, clears it right back out. Soviets will sit on this lead, try to make a break, a fast one, and add to it. Otherwise, they're content with the 5 goals they have so far. But they can break so quickly and add to it, like right here. Moving in on goal was Svetlov. Almost made it 6-1. Out in front, a booming shot over top of the goal by Semenov, who scored the 5th Soviet goal a few minutes ago. Bob Hoffmeyer, he can't clear. Shepelev keeps it in. Centering pass is blocked. Vidyaletdinov containing it at the blue line for the Soviet Union. Now it's rolled across the ice to the Philadelphia Flyers. Paddock lets it go from well outside the line off the chest of Tretiak. Svetlov trying to make the fast breaking pass, gets it out of center ice. Over the line they come. Anatoly Semenov was stick checked by McCrimmon. Pass rolling off the Philadelphia Flyers. Hoffmeyer's stick. Soviets in complete command here, midway in this final period. Little over 10 minutes left, they lead 5-1. Vasiliev works it inside the blue line for Bykov. Turned back for the Flyers. Kozhevenikov shot it in on the offside. They'll face off right there. The Flyer blue line, exactly 10 minutes to play in the period. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Ten minutes remaining. A 4 goals Soviet lead at 5-1. Wilson. Taylor at center ice. Wilson now off the near boards. The relay by Fox did not click. Kozhevenikov sends Vasiliev away inside the line. Made the pass, not the shot. Turned back into the corner. Poked out by Philadelphia Flyers Holmgren. Starikov. Here's Bykov. Kozhevenikov accepts the right wing pass. Dumps it in front of the goal, and they almost tapped in goal number 6. 9 minutes and 20 seconds remaining now. Flyers coming in. Taylor cutting it on goal. Jams away at it. Tretiak there to block it on the short side. Starikov to Bykov. He's bumped down. Sergei Starikov. Barnikov again, wearing Maltsev's number. The great Maltsev had to go home after breaking his finger after just 1 game. He broke it in a practice in Quebec City. but they certainly don't miss him. Soviet team has played beautifully on this North American tour. That is Dvorak on the boards for Philadelphia. Flyers again having trouble advancing that puck down the ice. Cochran, the defenseman, brings it down to the corner, rolls it out in front. And Babinov is there, cover up for the Soviet Union, and sends Skvortsov inside the blue line. Skvortsov ridden off by Mark Howe. He is the Flyers' only goal tonight. And a 5-1 Soviet lead. They got rolling early with 2 in the first period. When you get in behind the Soviets early, it's awfully tough to come back, as the Flyers have found out. Bobby Clarke couldn't gather in the pass from Howe. Kozakov all the way around and down. Flyers will get a break now as they'll have a face-off in the Soviet zone on the icing call with 7:55 to go. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
One thing you've seen tonight, and you've seen all through the series, Don, the Soviets just don't get caught in outman situations. They always have that one back checker coming back. If the defenseman pinch, you might even have 2. But they're still playing that man high. They're not allowing the Flyers to come down and get him in any 3-on-2, 2-on-1 situations. The Flyers are having a tough time getting away with any of that.
Fetisov promptly off the faceoff of the Soviet Union ahead to Timonev. He rolls it for the center ice area. But there are 3 red shirts there to pounce on it again. Over to Timonev. Timonev makes his cut of the shot. It's blocked by Pelle Lindbergh. Held in by Fetisov for a moment. Flyers now at the break on the right side. But again, the Soviet defender Kazatonov closed off. Tom Gorant's coming in right out in front. They bat away at it. Tretiak is down. Barber there as sticks go high, pushing and shoving. Reaching over now for a punch to the left hand of one of the Soviet players. Sittler in the middle of the melee as well, as tempers flare late in this third period.
Well, Hoffmeyer and Timonev getting a little upset in front there, but a good chance by the Flyers. The late man coming in for a shot as we look at Bob Hoffmeyer. That faceoff now going to come out of the zone because the Flyer defenseman moved in. There's really no reason to move in. Here's Gorans trying to cut for the net. Kazatonov keeping him on the outside. Larionov, see him back check all the way back in deep with Barber. That's when Sittler centers the pass right here. Hoffmeyer getting the shot, and then Barber on the doorstep being stopped by Tretiak. And then the skirmish started. But that's what we were talking about. Larionov coming all the way back with Barber, even though Fetisov had been caught up deep.
I want to acknowledge in the waning minutes of this series the excellent work of our producer Tom McKee, director Michael Lansbury, the other commentators we've worked with, and in particular my partner the last 4 games, Lou Nanny. I'll call you the Tony Kubek of hockey. You've done a great job up here.
Thank you very much, Don. It's been my pleasure working with you.
It all began 9 days ago at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, and now 7:24 remain in this NHL Soviet Series here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Golfed in by Hoffmeyer. Barber makes a good play and rolls in behind the goal. Could not steer it in front. Now Svetlov for the Soviets. He'll try the left side, and Hoffmeyer missed him in a sailing check. Hoffmeyer coming away with a puck now in behind his own goal, and up the ice he heads. Bill Barber. Batted down for Shepelev. Soviets cruising for that fast break in center ice. Svetlov makes the check, gets the break there, beats the pass over, and Lindbergh makes the save. Ahead for Sinicello. Bilyeletdinov of the Soviet Union. Chopped off a Soviet stick down the ice. It will not be far enough to be called for icing. 6.5 minutes left now. Dvorak squeezing it inside the blue line. Play very scrambly at this stage. It's getting late. And in their hearts, the Flyers must know it's a bit late to mount a comeback of a 4-goal proportion against the Soviet Union. Long drive by Zubkov, handled easily by Lindbergh. Evans in difficulty. Left inside the line for Bykov. Promptly on the puck was John Paddock for the Philadelphia Flyers. Evans inside the line. He couldn't control it. Velikov, he's dangerous. Closing in with a pass. Good stick check back there by Ben Wilson. Vasiliev blasts one high. Knocked down in front for Wilson. Wilson, a good move against Vasiliev. Beating Mark Howe on the right side. Howe right in front of the goal. No one there. Holmgren with it now. For Taylor. Couldn't find him. Taylor against Starikov. Dumps it back to the corner for Holmgren. Bumped off the puck by Babinov. They're jamming for a face-off. Pepper spray once again. There's a punch thrown by Holmgren. Babinov is angry, as you can see, on the previous confrontation.
Oh, Holmgren throwing left at Babinov. A little upset in there, and we're going to have penalties. A little roughing going on in there. Holmgren taking him out with a check, getting hit back and getting somewhat upset. We see that's right. He's just letting them know who's getting the penalties, and they're getting Paul escorted over to the box also. You see the little skirmish right there as Babinov takes him in, and then they're going at it. Paul's going to throw a left at him, I think, in about 1 second here. Right there. Babinov looked like a good boxer. He just got his head back just in time. Paul very upset. Flyers, of course, right now know there's only 5:08 left. Down 5-1, trying to get that puck free in the corner, and sometimes frustrations do run a little high.
Well, it's surfacing only now. Babinov and Holmgren getting roughing penalties together. They have contained themselves very well. Penalties have not been the Philadelphia Flyers' problem tonight by any means.
No, Philadelphia this year showing a great deal of discipline, and that's all because of Bob McCammon. He just won't let them take stupid penalties. They've gone from being first in the league continually. I believe right now at this stage they're 15th in the penalized teams in the league, and that's one of the reasons for their success. They used to give up so many shorthanded goals. That takes you out of the game, but this man right there won't stand for it. Has not allowed them to lose their discipline.
They are flying high on the National Hockey League's Patrick Division, but they've been grounded by the Soviet Union tonight with 5 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the hockey game and in the series. McCrimmon makes the pass ahead of center ice for Taylor. Taylor again now. 2 Soviet defenders. Fedosov is the one who turned him back. Time and time again, the Flyers go into reverse gear. McCrimmon across the prop. Now they head out looking for the head man up there. Taylor decided to carry the puck in instead and shoot it down to the Soviet corner. Prop goes in for it. Bad pass. Nowhere near McCrimmon. Head over for Kazatonov, and he did not make a good play. Back for Krutov, intercepted by the Flyers. Hoffmeyer. Flyers now changing with a play at center ice. Larionov, he's been everywhere. One of the top Soviet players tonight. On a line that has led this series in scoring. The Soviet team. Fedosov, they're out there for a skate right now, Lou.
That's right. They're just killing the clock. One thing they're doing really effectively is taking the center ice away from the Flyers and just continually forcing them to come up the side to the defenseman.
Ben Wilson, he's been effective for the Flyers tonight as well. Starts this play.
See right there. That's what they want to do all night long. They take that middle away and just force you to the outside if they can.
Mark Howe has the only Flyer goal that came in the second period, gave Philadelphia momentary life, but the Soviets have just overpowered them, preventing any chance of a comeback. We get down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds of playing time. Shepelev left it there for Wilson. This night began with emotion and excitement and drama. And the waving of 15,000 American flags. There's a shot right on Tretiak. He makes the save, but I'll tell you, the Soviets took away all the enthusiasm, and here we go again. Fedosov, the Soviet captain, involved there. Darryl Sittler and Bill Barber.
Well, Billy doesn't usually get involved in this way. Billy's a complete hockey player. He plays his game extremely cleanly. Probably just getting a little frustrated here, but you have to look at the Soviet defenseman. He's going to wrap right up after Barber's just going for the net. You see that? Fedosov just grabs him. The whistle had already blown. You can't blame Billy for getting a little upset right there. But the face-off again coming out, and that's one thing you don't want to do. The really was going to be nothing happening there, so just allow it to stay. The defenseman should have stayed out at the blue line. The Soviets, of course, very content right now to just pass the puck around, not give Philadelphia any kind of play or opportunity to score in Tretiak.
31 shots on Tretiak, and he has blocked 30 of them tonight.
Tretiak, just an outstanding goaltender for over a decade now for this Soviet hockey club. And the big question, as he says he's going to quit playing after the next Olympics, who will be the next Soviet goaltender? If you go back to the past 20 years, they've only had 3, and it seems they have a great difficulty coming up with a second goaltender. And well, they have different reasons for that, Don, but I'm not sure what it is.
They have Bushkin. We are told that he will not inherit the job, that they have a young fella coming up in behind that they think will be their Olympic goalie of the future. They have corrected the time now. It skipped a minute. It is now 2:58 remaining, not a minute and 58 seconds as we had seen earlier. Soviets getting that clarified with referee Bruce Hood.
The Soviets probably want to get out of here quickly, and they're wondering what happened. We've got Sheplov's gone over to the penalty box to talk to the interpreter Aggie Kuklowitz and Krutov, but we see right there Daryl Sittler just waiting for them to come and face off. Bruce Hood talking to Aggie, and there's Larionov also with Fedosov.
Let's bring in Lou Nolan now down there at the timekeeper's bench.
Well, what happened? The players, we do not work with Glasser in Philadelphia. We prefer to work without it through the communications with the officials. And players were checked at the red line, and one of the players hit the single minute with his glove and knocked 1 minute from the clock. The officials had their watches on it, and both officials came up right away and said that we owed the clock 1 minute.
So the clock here is indeed vulnerable and was victimized for a minute just there. They've corrected that situation now.
This is the line's been excellent for the Soviets. I'm going to vote for Larionov because he's been superb in every game. Their second leading scorer and goal scorer, but this line has had superb play all night long, and any one of these fellas could have been the Soviet star.
Krutov has been the Labatt's player of the game.
Krutov or Larionov?
Krutov has been.
Oh, before, yeah, twice before.
Previously, twice. All right, here's Sittler now with about 2.5 minutes to play. Beating Gorin. Ridden off and got a shot away. Steered aside easily by Tretiak. Sittler popping it out for Barber, turning to slap it. Went off Wilson's stick. The relay failed by Sittler. Darryl Sittler having a good season, his first full season with the Philadelphia Flyers after getting out of Toronto. Soviets closing in again right in front of the goal. Svetlov cut. Could not make a play. Soviets will be going back to Montreal for the weekend. They will practice there at the Montreal Forum on Saturday and Sunday. We're told their flight to Moscow is not until Monday out of Montreal's Mirabel Airport.
That's 31 Semenov that just went off, Don. He was with the Soviet junior team last year, their best player. Canada, of course, beat him for the gold medal, but he's made a great transition to this hockey club. A big step for him, and he's made it very effectively.
Starikov ahead to Bykov. Bykov, Kozhevenikov. And that is whistled down as the play crossed the Flyers' blue line. Something interesting on the weekend. They've got one of those promotions in Montreal when youngsters can come and watch the Montreal Canadiens practice. The Soviets are supposed to practice right afterward. There's a bonus for the kids to see both the Soviets and the Canadiens practice. I wonder if they get talking and say, well, seeing as how we're out here, can we have a little game?
Well, I know one thing. The first time I played in Russia was in 1965, and we went out to practice one day. We couldn't practice unless we played an Army team that happened to be there. You just never were able to get the ice without playing one of their teams.
Well, they might have a scrimmage in Montreal. Who knows? Could be an unofficial 7th game. Canadians, of course, beaten 5-0 in the one shot they had against the Soviets New Year's Eve.
Well, the team playing Montreal that night would love them to scrimmage the Russians in the afternoon.
Yeah. Holmgren now against Starikov. Starikov wins that little battle. Kozhevenikov beating it wide left side. Center ice for the Soviet Union. Bykov takes the pass from Varnikov. A minute to play in the hockey game and in the NHL Soviet series. 5-1. The Soviets have it all wrapped up here in the Philadelphia Spectrum tonight. The Flyers, who had that winning streak around the National Hockey League, 7 games. It'll still go in the NHL, but they've been cooled out but good here by the Soviet Union. Toronto has beaten Washington 3-1 tonight, and Vancouver's beaten Hartford 6-4 in the NHL. Just 29 seconds to go, and a hard shot drifts wide from Markow. He is the only Philadelphia goal. Bobby Clarke played so well for the Flyers. Been frustrated as any of them have been. Passes in now, and the quick shot from the stick of Carson is held on to by Tretiak with 13 seconds remaining.
That's right. Bobby Clarke is noticeable on both ends of the rink. He's back there helping the defenseman all night long. Up, providing some trouble for this fella, Tretiak, screening him on that one goal. Played a great game.
I want to thank our statistician, Eddie Milliken from Toronto, who's worked the entire 6 games, crisscrossed a couple of countries and a continent a few times. Thanks for your work, Ed. We get down to the final 13 seconds now. Thanks to all the technical crews, production crews that have joined us in the 6 National Hockey League cities to make this series a success. Prism is the producing company here in Philadelphia, providing facilities for us. They do the Philadelphia Flyers games regularly. We thank them. Face-off comes out over the blue line, and that could just about be it as the clock here at the Philadelphia Spectrum ticks down now to 5 seconds. Cochran rolls it inside the blue line. And the National Hockey League Soviet Series 83 is over with the Soviet Union's national team winning tonight 5-1. Another great game by Tretiak, and winning the series over the National Hockey League 4-2. And perhaps the NHL next time, Lou, might consider playing all the games in the province of Alberta. That's where the 2 wins came.
Well, there's a little bit of difference, as you know, because this team is their select team, but it was a great experience for all the clubs. I know for our own team, the Minnesota North Stars, we were very pleased to have the opportunity to play them. We felt that we gave a good effort 6 minutes in our game. As you know, you can't leave 6 minutes out of a game, but that was a big difference for us, and we're hopeful that we gained something from it. But the most important thing, we think it was an excellent exhibition.